Welcome to the Iron Giant. I'm at the base of one of the oldest iron mines in the world, where for one weekend every year, operations cease, and this becomes the setting for the single most difficult hard enduro competition on the planet. Behind me, 500 competitors are about to attempt to ascend, descend, and crisscross this massive mountain, all in the hopes of reaching the finish line. But actually, only a handful will do so. This is Hare Scramble, and you're watching the Red Bull Signature Series. Herzlich willkommen. Welcome to Eisenerz, Austria, which is usually a quiet little village to the home of Erzberg, also known as the Iron Giant. But for most of these competitors, it's going to be misery and heartache. I'm Sal Masekela, your host of the Red Bull Signature Series. Out of 500 riders here at the start line, less than 3% will actually finish. That's right. Last year, 14 crossed the finish line, and the year before that, 7. The Iron Giant is on.
Sal, it certainly is. Hi folks, Lee Diffie and Motocross Hall of Famer Ricky Johnson with you. And Ricky, if you're into extreme enduro, this is it.
This is the king right here at Erzberg. Every rider comes here, and it's different because you want to get out front as quick as possible, but you got to realize you're going to be working out all day long at 100%.
Getting out front early is what Seppi Fally has done. As we go on board with Johnny Walker.
You know, I've raced in Baja, but this stuff is treacherous because not only do you have the dirt itself and the rocks and everything, but you have this man-made stuff. You got tractors on the left, cliffs on the right, and now the other riders that are crossing back and forth. So it's not just one line like a motocross track. You know, you can use your imagination as much as possible and try to clear double jumps like that.
Whoa, that was quite the move from the KTM man Walker, the winner 2 years ago, as he went by Seppi Fally very quickly.
Well, see, in Supercross, you get to go out and practice and look at a jump a couple times, but these guys get one shot at this whole course. So a move like that is very brave, but let me tell you, it will make a difference.
The onboard from Gomez there saw Seppi Fally and Gutsiet go down early.
Lee, you look at these hills, they got to come up to them, and then they open up as much as they can and take a big run. Here we see Walker making that jump. Unbelievable that he's taking chances like that.
Is that too aggressive too early, or that's what you need to do?
Hey, this is Erzberg, man. Anything counts. Sometimes, you know, a champ to a chump in just one bump. Sometimes you're a hero, sometimes you're a zero, but right now he's opened up quite a lead.
Look at the gradient. How graphic, how steep it really is. And already Johnny Walker has opened up a handsome lead. Let's take you back a few moments ago and show you how the initial start looked for defending winner Graham Jarvis.
When it comes to enduros, most of the time it's you against your machine, but at the beginning of Erzberg, it's just like Supercross where you have everybody line up and you're going back and forth. Here we see Jarvis get caught behind a couple riders. He has to hesitate, and now coming to this first hill, he has to make a decision. Who do I hit? Who don't I hit? And how do I approach this hill? And watch what happens. Gets stuck on the side of the hill, goes down, but being the champion that he is, he doesn't panic, pulls the bike around, rolls down the hill. Well, let's take another shot at that, turns around, and right up the hill he goes. But the big problem now is not just the course, but the other riders.
Just showing, even as a defending champ, you have to take a breath. and really think about the big picture over this 20-mile course. The second wave is away, and right in the middle of that is a man who led this race last year for a brief period, Romain Giofra.
That's why qualifying is so important. You want to be in that front line as quick as possible.
And Ricky, take a look at this. Over 20 miles. This is the 20th edition of the Erzberg Rodeo. And some signature points on the circuit we will show you during this program. The machine, the elevator, the bathtub, Karl's Diner, all signature points in Austria's largest iron ore mine. This is brutal. That's why they call it the Iron Giant. 14 times KTM has won this event, and that's the bike that Johnny Walker rides right now. It's time to check in with Tina Dixon.
This course is definitely a navigational challenge as well. So to help mark the way, officials have taken these blue signs and placed them along the track. But I talked to the riders and they were saying that these are located more in the tight trail sections. But if you look behind me, those open mine roads, there's not a lot of these signs and there's potential to get lost. In fact, that's what happened to Graham Jarvis a few years back. He got turned around and the end result was disqualification. So for the riders, follow the signs, hit all 23 checkpoints. But guys, it sounds a lot easier than it is.
For sure, Tina, as we now see Ricky, the third line released.
What you got to remember is that they don't get this time back. Like Baja, we start off, if you're a minute behind, if you finish 30 seconds behind that rider in front of you, you win. Here, first person across the line wins.
And you do that by getting the best start. And Johnny Walker wasn't the first off the line, but he was the first to make his way to the front of this pack very quickly and efficiently. And so far, Ricky, it's paying off beautifully.
I love the way Johnny uses his body when he's entering the corners, and he's using the angles to help him out. Johnny rides a lot of motocross back in England, and he's using that to his advantage. Watching him climb this hill, he's a tall guy. He uses the angles to save his energy, and right now, doing a beautiful job.
And Ricky, these guys, as we watch the battle for second with Corey Greffender and Andrew Noakley and a bunch of others in there, what kind of heritage would serve you best here? I mean, guys bring trials experience, they bring enduro experience, motocross experience. What's the magic combination?
That's a pretty simple equation. You want to be a motocross champion from the start to the first turn. You want to be an enduro guy up the first hill. You want to be a desert racer as you're climbing up out of this gravel mine. So you have to use every fiber as a rider just to make it around, let alone go around fast.
And with everything we've already seen, our race leader, Johnny Walker, has approached just the first of 23 checkpoints over this 20-mile course. And he enters the forest for the first time.
Now is time when you become an enduro rider. You have to look around, you have to use the environment, not just the rocks and the gravel, but now you have trees and a lot of other dangers out there.
Plenty of experience in the form of Knight, Lettenbichler and Gomez coming, but it's Andrew Noakley, Canada's Corey Greffender, and England's Johnny Walker up front. And Ricky, he's coming up to a significant challenge, the water pipe.
One of the cool things that I like about Erzberg is a lot of guys still run two-strokes. The big fad in racing right now is four-strokes for supercross, motocross, but here they run the two-strokes because of the rotating mass. They're easier to stop, and they're a much lighter machine. Here Walker's out in front, and you see him going through another checkpoint. And right now at this slow-mo, you got to see how hard he has to work between leaning forward and leaning back. You lean forward too much, you lose back traction. You lean back too much, you're going to wheelie. He's got the right balance.
Do you get in awe of that gradient and that climb, or you just pick a point at the top? What's the strategy to tackling this?
That's exactly what they do. They look at the top and they try to find a point and aim for it. But these guys are so far ahead and so advanced. When they're riding, it's a lot like you and I walking. We don't think about right foot, left foot. Johnny Walker is so much in the zone, he just makes it happen.
Walker is the star at the moment, but who else should we look for? Sal Masekela tells us.
Last year here in Erzberg was a story of redemption. Graham Jarvis finally stood atop the podium after being disqualified 3 years in a row.
Unbelievable.
Can Jarvis repeat? 23-year-old Johnny Walker hopes not. The 2012 champion is back after completely missing the podium last year.
My front wheel just dropped and it just took all the water in, and then that was it really. You know, it's racing.
And then we have Andreas Lettenbichler. He finished in second place here 4 times. Will this finally be the year he gets the monkey off his back? From the USA, Cody Webb is making his hare scramble debut, and he's got a chance. He's the first American to ever podium at the European Hard Enduro events, and he could be the guy to finally get the stars and stripes on the box here. And lest we forget that 2005 and 2006 champ David Knight has returned. And the master of the British Empire also wants glory of once again being the fastest here in Austria. All of these riders are having a stellar season so far. All would like nothing more than to become the 2014 champion. But if 20 years of racing here at the mine has taught us anything, it's that the mountain always has the final word.
And three of those riders we saw in that feature with Sal, we see right here American Taylor Robert and his regular competitor Cody Webb. And right behind these guys as they tackle the waterpipe Ricky, Graham Jarvis on the comeback trail.
Jarvis, last year's winner, has to work his way back through the pack, and right now the course is starting to deteriorate a little bit. But as you can see, as they come to the checkpoint, they want to get in and out as quick as possible.
At this point last year, 153 riders did not even make it this far. As our race leader Johnny Walker fast approaches the next challenge, the bathtub. Ricky, what's impressed you about Walker so far?
If you watch him, he was very, very aggressive at the beginning, and now look at him. He's very smooth on the throttle, paying attention who's behind him, what's going on, because they don't have radio communication, so he's out there running solo, but he can also look back and see if someone's catching him.
As Walker, the first to attack the bathtub, and makes it look easy.
You know, last year you mentioned that 153 riders hadn't even made it this far. But this year, as you can see, the sun is shining. There is still a lot of water standing around, but with the sun shining, it gives you that crust on top, helps you climb these hills.
Canada's Corey Graffender. And just like Walker, nicely completed.
Another GoPro onboard with Lettenbichler. We hear him hit the power at the base. The two-stroke power pulls all the way up the hill. Easy day, Lee.
And another section completed. Could this be the year when Letty, as he's affectionately known, can win? Here's Spain's Alfredo Gomez. He's made up good progress. He's fifth at the moment. Ahead of him, Andrew Noakley. So this is a good fight.
Once again, that little bit of sunshine has made the bathtub much more climbable. A lot of guys not even having a problem. We heard about champions like David Knight taking 3 shots at it the other day, but right now everyone seems to be wheeling up this hill.
And for American Taylor Robert to be in 6th at this early stage in his very first hare scramble in Austria is a very impressive performance aboard his factory KTM. He's chasing the likes of Gomez and England's Andrew Noakley, and consistent as ever, Andreas Littenbeckler, Corey Graffender for Canada, and then Johnny Walker continues to set the pace. Before he began, though, he had a chance to catch up with our Sal Masekela.
Do you always hang out in front of big trucks like this?
No, it's not my usual place.
Not your usual place?
No.
Big truck for a big star, because you're that guy. You won this race at 21 years old 2 years ago against guys with a ton more experience.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I didn't expect it, you know. I just came here. You know, the year before I got the podium, so I came here, you know, thinking I was going to get a podium, but, you know, to actually get the win was unbelievable.
How difficult was it for you then last year? Didn't have the best year.
Anything that went wrong, you know, so first corner I got the whole shot, went straight into the water, and that was it, you know.
Driving through the water, Walker almost sank at that point.
I thought the race was over, but I got the bike going again, so, you know, that was the main thing, and, you know, I pushed as hard as I could, but only managed 4th.
Here comes Johnny Walker. Doesn't really mean that much to him. He wants to be on the podium.
You know, I haven't come here to come 4th, you know, I come here to win the race.
You're like a kid brother. Most of those guys are in their mid-30s or older. What's your relationship like with them? Is it intimidating? Do you feel like a kid?
No, I get on well with all the other riders. You know, off the track we're really good friends, but you know, when we're racing it kind of changes.
Who is it that you want to beat more than anyone?
I think mine's the same as everyone else's. You know, everyone wants to beat Graham. He's dominated the sport for the last 3 years. You know, he's won, I think, every race there is, he's won, so.
Do you tell him that?
No, I think he knows that. You know, when we're hanging around together, we're joking and that. he knows that everyone wants to beat him.
What does it take for you think, to repeat and win this thing again?
I think you've got to have a good team. You know, I've got an awesome team behind me, and you know, I'm just going to push as hard as I can.
That's it.
Yeah, just flat out, full gas.
Well, good luck to you here,
Thank you.
and we'll catch up with you again in Romania.
Cool.
Yeah.
Take it easy.
Right on.
Ricky, two things to take away from that. He's a pretty humble young man, but he's also very determined. He knows what he wants.
You know, I love listening to the confidence in his voice, but he's very, very humble. When you put a riding gear and a helmet on that kid, he is a killer, and right now he is out front and doing an awesome job.
And he's leading some of the world's best, like this man here, the GoPro view of Graham Jarvis.
I love the respect that everybody has for Jarvis because Jarvis, let's face it, has kicked everyone's butt at this race multiple times.
Ricky, he has, and that's a real thorn in his side because on 3 occasions he did cross the line first, but was disqualified for various infringements. Approaching checkpoint 4, 3 Kings. And the crowd very appreciative of the way Walker does this.